Hiya, so I'm going to show you how to do a technical flat for fashion using Adobe Illustrator. I'm not a CAD teacher, this is how I do them, and some people don't have access to CAD, but they do look a lot neater and they're a lot more accurate if you're doing this way. You can either use them for a technical flat for your final file, or you can do your design developments using technical flats. I'm going to do just how to do the basic outline in this video. I'll do a second video of how to do stitch lines and seam lines and little details, and if anybody wants to know anything else, just leave me a comment or pop me a message and I will arrange another tutorial to sort that out for you. So you start off in Adobe Illustrator. I'm going to use this flat template. It's a template that I've modified because the original wasn't symmetrical. This is now symmetrical, which is what you want basically. You don't want anything that's off centre or not quite right. And you can just open that file in Illustrator, but if you did that and then forgot to rename it when you saved it after you'd overwritten that, then you've got to faff about downloading the template again. So just because it's just a little bit safer to do it this way, I click on Create New Print Document, and I want to name it number 1 in my series of design developments. I will then save this to a folder of design developments for that particular file. It's in A4 and it needs to be portrait, so that's good to go. So then I will click on File and Place, and I will find wherever I've saved my flat template, and I will double click on Place. So that's there now. Just zoom in a little bit so you can see that. Now the next step is quite important. You have to click on your layers and toggle this little square here that's empty. Click on it and the little lock symbol comes up. So that layer is locked now. I can't edit this layer, so I can't do anything that will change this template. And then I'm going to click Create a New Layer. So now I can draw over the template, and when I've finished I can toggle the visibility of the bottom template and that will disappear. So I will just have a bodice or a shirt or whatever I've done without the template, because for a design development or for a technical flat there should be no body, there should be no arms or neck, face or any of that. It's just the actual garment. So now we need to get our tools ready. We're going to use pen tool. I'm going to click and hold on the pen tool and drag it out, toggling this little tear off bit here, and that's there in its little box. And then I need to get to the reflect tool, which sits underneath the rotate tool in this version anyway. So I'm going to click and hold and get reflect tool ready. I don't need to drag that out because I'll only use that tool, whereas with the pen I'll probably use the pen tool and the little convert anchor point tool. Now I need to set my stroke because it defaults to basically invisible. So I'm going to click on stroke next to layer. I'm going to give it a weighting of 0.75 because for fashion on my course, outlines are either a 5 or a 7.7 using your fine liner. So I'm going to use 0.75 for an outline. If you wanted to do a seam line or a stitch line, they would be a different weight. I'm going to click on round cap because I think it looks nicer, it's not as harsh, and my stroke is now black, which is what I want, but it's default to a fill, and I don't want a fill because if I do a closed shape, so if I did a whole bodice and close that shape, it would be white, and I don't want it to be white. I want to be able to see the detail of the template underneath. So I'm going to click on here and I'm going to click no fill, which is the white box with the little red stripe through on this version. So now I'm going to go back to my pen tool and I'll show you there's a couple of different ways of using it. If you just want to do a straight line, you just click once with your left key and click again, and then you've got a straight line. If I wanted to then bend that line, I would use my convert anchor point, hold on to the very end with the left mouse key and hold down, and use my trackpad on my laptop or your mouse if you're using a tower to then alter that shape. So now it's a curve. I'm just going to delete that. The other way you can do a curve is if you use the pencil, you click it once, and then the second click you hold with the left key, and the same again, you just use your trackpad to just bend it to however you want it bent. So now I'm going to show you how to do just a basic outline. So I'm going to start with the armhole. I always start there. You don't have to, but I always find it's a bit easier. So I'm going to click it and hold it, and then I've done a nice little arm curve. I'm quite happy with that, so I'm going to leave it. One thing I will warn you about is if you use the pen tool and you do a curve and then you just click anywhere else again, you will get another curve. So to avoid that, I'm going to click again on the anchor and click down to the waist. So now I've got a nice straight line, but I think that's a little bit too straight for my design, so I'm going to use the convert anchor and alter it slightly so it's a bit more curved. Now I want to do my shoulder seam, so I'm going to use my tool again and I'm just going to click here, but I don't really like that. It's a bit higher up off the shoulder than I'd like and it's not very long. So now I'm going to use the arrow keys on my keyboard and I'm going to use the right one to lengthen it, and I'm going to use the up and down keys to position it. So you can just have a play around with that and see how that works. So now I'm a bit more happy with that now. So what I want to do now is copy this so that I don't have to draw it again and it will be perfectly symmetrical. So I'm going to highlight it, just drawing a square around it using my arrow, and then I'm going to double click on reflect. Now if I just clicked OK, it would just flip the highlighted bit. I don't want that, I want another, so I'm going to click on copy, and it's a lot easier if you just use your arrow keys to move it along with, because it'll stay in exactly the same place then. It'll be level. So now I've got two sides of a bodice. I'd like to make a hem, so I'm going to just join them together. So that's really easy. If you want to curve it, you'll have to follow the guides that I'm about to show you for the neck. So the necks can be a little bit tricky. If I was to just do the same for my hem, then obviously that's a very straight neckline. I want to curve. So if I use the convert anchor and I try to curve it, it takes the shoulder with it, and I don't want that. So I'm just going to delete that. One sec. There we go. And what I'm going to do instead is go back to my layers. I'm going to lock this layer and I'm going to start a new layer. So now I can do the same thing again. I can just join these anchor points together, but this one's highlighted in green and the other layer is red, so I know I'm on a different layer. And I can use my little tool, and I've got a neckline that's curved. That's not curved very well, but I'll just give it another go. So there, I've got a nice curved neckline. So I can continue on this layer if I want, or I can go back to the other layer. I'll probably stay on this layer just because it's easier. So that is a very basic outline using Illustrator. I'm going to stop this video now and I will start another one for the details. So I shall